What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here. So in this video, I have a commentary on my solo flawless Spire the Watcher run. So I've actually only solo flawless this dungeon once before this video, and I did it on the day it came out, and I never really liked the mechanics in this dungeon. So I actually didn't run this dungeon very much, but then this season, because of solo operative and it being a long season, and how OP solar is this season, I wanted to solo every dungeon on every character, which I did. And so I was forced to solo this 3 times, 1 on each character, and then run a solo flawless. So I eventually learned like some nice little tips and tricks on how to kind of optimize getting to boss damage and whatever else. And yeah, this dungeon kind of grew on me a little bit. And I'll talk about some of that during the traversal sections. But for this section, so I'm on Hunter with Ophidia Spathe and Ember of Empyrean and Restoration Grenades. So I can get Resto if I need, in case like all those enemies that are out there deal some decent damage to me. The bosses in this one are somewhat tanky, but they're 3-phaseable, which is kind of the sweet spot for a solo flawless in my opinion. But that is because the the artifact is so OP. So here we can see just how strong Restoration is. Sunshot is really good for extending our Restoration with Empyrean. And yeah, so this opening area, you just have to connect all these things. So just do whatever route you like best. The route that you're seeing me do is just kind of the way I learned to run it. It's not as optimal as speedrunners do it. They have some really crazy tech for like using a bank shot GL to get this one down here. But this does work. I don't think I have to proc Arctrician, like re-proc it too much. So yeah, for this I would just say run whatever is best for you, like whatever order. And there, just be careful of the Cyclopses. You can take them out. Like you can see, I have a sniper on in my loadout. I'm just not using it because you can kind of just run and gun this whole section. So here I forgot about one of the nodes to shoot. So then I shoot it. But yeah, I more try to avoid the enemies than outright kill them all. That's just what I prefer to do here. It's a little risky, but they do kind of infinitely spawn, so it's not totally worth killing them. So if you can get a good route down here, that'll really help you get through this quickly without dying. But if you do die, it's so early in the run that it doesn't matter too much. But like I said, you definitely want to crutch on Restoration. On a Hunter, you could maybe crutch Invis or Assassin's Cowl or something like that as well. Whatever you want to do. But Titan and Warlock, definitely utilize Restoration because it's extremely strong. So yeah, that's my advice for that. There we connect the last 2 and then the final one. And now we're on the move. So on all the solo flawlesses, I used Solar because I think that is by far the best thing to use in these dungeons. There are some like niche scenarios on certain bosses where you can use some other things, but Solar, between Revitalizing Blast giving us a 15% weaken, it being super easy to get Radiant, Restoration, I just think Solar is the way to go. But here's the one part where I do swap off a Solar. I go to Stasis just for Shatter Skating across this big long jump, where I know the majority of you probably aren't going to do that, so I'm sorry. But I do have a guide out on all the dungeons, but also on this one. So if you want to see like a proper route for getting across this part, just watch that dungeon guide. This will be more a commentary on what I'm using, like just talking about the strats that I'm using here. So here I swap to Stompies, and I should have had a preset, but it's whatever. And then you just go to the edge here, and if you know how to Shatter Skate with Eager Edge, then you can do a Shatter Skate. So here, I'm just making sure I'm lined up. Everything's good. And it's really nice because this is just a time save, and the little jumping area puzzle there, just use what you're comfortable with, whether it's Strafe Glide or Burst Glide on a Warlock. You'll definitely want triple jump and Stompies in my opinion on a Hunter, ideally with lots of mobility. Or you can run like whatever jump you want on Titan, and you could even use Lion Rampants to sword skate at that same part and just sword your way across. So there's a number of ways, but just do what you're comfortable with and get through that part of the jumping puzzle. And then once you're on here, we're just going to speed this up. Oops. Because this part, this first encounter is very boring. So I talk about it in some of my other Solo Flawless commentaries, but just about pacing in dungeons. And like Warlord's Ruin has great pacing, where the start of Ghost of the Deep is very, very boring. I hate that opening encounter. It's annoying and slow. And then the whole first traversal is super slow. And then this encounter, I don't love either because it's just boring and slow. All you're doing is connecting dots here. Like there's nothing exciting about it. And again, I'm not super familiar with this dungeon. Like this is the one I'm least familiar with. So that's why sometimes you'll see me like looking for nodes because yeah, I just haven't soloed it a ton of times. But you can just follow the route on screen if you need. See, like here I forget that it's under the stairs. There it is. And then that one's up there. But yeah, much like the first encounter that's all just connecting the dots, I prefer to just avoid the enemies as much as I can, because the sooner you move on, the sooner you can be done and not die to enemies. So I just like to go fast. Eager Edge is really good. Sunshot's nice for taking out the ads quickly. We have a restoration grenade in case we're in trouble and we need it. So here, I proc resto, I extend it with Ember of Empyrean and getting solar kills. And yeah, there's really not too much to this encounter. So the reason I use Hunter, I was actually able to 3-phase both bosses in a couple ways. So Celestial Nighthawk is great for the first boss, but the final boss, I used Star Eater Scales Blade Barrage, and I was able to get a 3-phase, and I used Celestial Nighthawk as well to get a 3-phase. So, yeah, like I said, 3-phase is kind of the sweet spot, in my opinion, for solo dungeons. So now we're through 2 of the floors, so we only have 1 left. And like I said, I'm just kind of speeding this up because there's really not much to it. Just use whatever build you want that will help you survive the easiest. Like I said, you can crutch invis. Really on any character, you could run that one fragment that makes you invis. When you do a finisher, you could get 1 goblin finishable and then just do a finisher if you wanted. Just whatever. Use what you're comfortable with. So there, I'm refreshing my Arctrician just because I wasn't sure if I'd have enough time. And yeah, that's really all there is for this first encounter. So the Harpy boss is quite unique, and I learned a lot about the enemy AI when I was soloing it on my other characters, like their spawn points and whatnot. So that boss is unique in that you can extend the damage phase if you hit a damage threshold, but it's really hard to hit solo. And you can also get a longer damage phase if you can take out the, what are they called? I guess it's eyes quicker. So that's why I have the Incisor Strand Trace Rifle, and I've got Killing Tally. So right before damage, I have 3 times Strand Surge, and then I stack up Killing Tally. And even still, I'm a little slow at taking out the eyes. So I don't really know the best trick for getting the eyes down like super quickly. Maybe I just, because they don't seem to pop right away, even though they should. And I kind of wait for the pop rather than just trusting that it's going to pop, if you know what I mean. Like I wait until it's done before I go off, where I think there's like a bit of a delay and I could switch earlier. But yeah, try to use something that gets the eyes down as quick as possible. Mida multi-tool with threat detector is pretty nice because you can usually get it down in like 1 or 2 clips, and threat detector helps your reload speed. So for here, I just do this exact same rotation every time. Like, again, it's just what I was comfortable with. I liked starting on this side, which was number 2, as you could see, and then I would go to 3, and then 4, and then finish on 1. And yeah, this is just a memory thing. Like you just start to learn where the things are. And then what's nice is I'm getting so many kills with Sunshot that that I get my Envious Assassin like way up. So that's really good because then I don't have to reload at all on my Strand Fusion Rifle when I'm, or Trace Rifle when I'm taking out the eyes. And then every time you dunk, it spawns in harpies on that side. So then I'm just slowly taking out harpies and then doing the next thing. But what you want is, I think you want 2 minotaurs up at the end. I'm trying to think of what spawns in more enemies. But yeah, basically when you go to a side, just take out all those goblins. Maybe you want 1 minotaur up. Yeah, so if you kill both minotaurs, 2 new ones are going to spawn in. And they either spawn in on 1 and 3 or 2 and 4. So right now I have 1 over on 3. I want to keep him there because he's not a threat on that side to me being on number 1. Where if I kill him, that will spawn 2 on 2 and 4. So then they'll be on my left and right while I'm trying to do damage. So I don't know what the heck that was. But so here I screwed up. I'm supposed to use my trace rifle there and kill those goblins to get killing tally going. Luckily, there's some harpies there, so I just killed them. So now we're gonna hot swap to Celestial Nighthawk, and I've got 2 kinetic surges because that buffs your golden gun damage. So we take out the eyes as quickly as we can. And again, I'm not very quick at it. I get my shots in, I proc everything, then I throw that melee to proc Revitalizing Blast. Oh, that's another thing. When you do so much damage, the boss actually stops. So I wasn't ready for that because, again, I'm not super used to this. And I'm using a Envious Assassin bait and switch grenade launcher. And I'm almost able to do half damage, which would have hit that threshold. And then I could do even more damage. But sadly, I didn't hit that threshold. That being said, trace rifles are not good at all for damage, but I could swap to, what's that new, Scatter Signal. Scatter Signal has controlled burst, so that's another thing you can use if you just wanted to take the eyes out with like Mida multi-tool or something, or Akelous mini tool, sorry. If you wanted to take the eyes out with that instead and then go with the fusion rifle for a bit more damage. So grenade launchers are supposed to get a buff apparently in Lightfall. So here's what I forgot. I forgot to freaking shoot the 4 middle ones. I'm used to doing that, but on this one I just didn't. So I was like, why isn't my nodes proccing? But it's fine. So I've got heavy ammo finder on my helmet, and that procs off primary kills, and then it procs even more frequently when you're using an exotic primary. So that's another reason I really like using Sunshot and then that bait and switch grenade launcher, because it's actually a very fast damage window. Kind of both these bosses, they're less than 30 seconds. So you want something that can just dump its reserves. And sadly, I have almost the god roll, but I don't have spike grenades. And you saw, like you can see right now how close I am to 50% health. I'm sure that if I had spike grenades, I actually would have hit that damage threshold. And I just can't get that roll to drop for me, and I don't overly like playing trials. So hopefully I get it one day before final shape when that buff comes, but even if I don't, it's still a very good burst DPS option, but it's not great for sustained. So another strategy that I had tried was Izanagi's Burden. So there I just had a heavy ammo drop, finder brick drop, which is also very annoying because those harpies hang out like not above ground, which is another crappy thing. So that's where this loadout doesn't shine, is its total damage. You blow through your load so quick, but then you don't have any reserves left, and then you're depending on drops. So you can get these things where heavy starts dropping for you frequently, and if you get that, you want to just start taking out ads as often as possible, but I don't get one on this run here, unfortunately. So that's why I'm like killing extra enemies here. Well, actually I needed Arctrician, but yeah, I'm just hoping to get some heavy. That being said, a 2-phase is very difficult. So on this phase, I just kind of say screw it and do the best damage I can, use my golden gun, and then live for a 3rd one and hope I get some heavy ammo. Because you can only farm ads for so long, but it's like, who cares? Because you're going to 3-phase anyways. So what's the point of wasting too much time trying to get ammo for an optimal DPS phase? Because Celestial does the bulk of our work. Actually, no, I didn't have Kinetic Surge. I go with 3 Strand Surges. But what you could do is pop your golden gun with 2 kinetic surges and then swap to some boots really quick. But I was trying to limit the amount of loadout swaps I was doing just for ease of use, because I highly recommend having presets, because you can see I'm just holding armor charge. So I definitely recommend having one set for ad clear, because I have things like recuperation on my boots for survivability, and then I've just got a thing on my class items so that I can hold armor charge. But there's lots of time to swap to DPS for this boss especially, because it has to come over to the side that you're on. So like I said, I definitely recommend having loadouts that you can swap to. And the final boss is really easy too. So that's another reason it's so much easier to solo flawless dungeons now, because it's so easy to be fully optimized. Before on this boss, you had to keep up goblins on the side that you were going to finish on and get like a melee kill to proc elemental wells right before damage. And yeah, it's like now you don't need all that setup. So it's quite nice. What's cool is I picked up the ammo, and you see I already have it in the mag. So Envious Assassin kind of like preloads for you almost. So now I decide to swap to Scatter Signal, just because I know I'm going to unload those 10 shots really quickly. So here's it going with Akelous mini tool. And yeah, again, I don't do a great job of shooting the eyes. I'm just not that good at it. So I don't know. Oh yeah, I was proccing Slice there. Because Slice, I have Torch on the artifact, so now I'm dealing 5% extra damage, because your weapons deal more damage when you're Radiant on combatants affected by Strand or Stasis debuffs. And then you can see the Fusion Rifle is putting in some good damage. So for only having 10 shots there, all things considered, that was pretty good damage. And maybe that strat that you just saw is better, to have some supplemental damage from a Fusion Rifle, rather than having the Trace Rifle so that you can get the eyes down maybe like 1 or 2 seconds quicker. I'm honestly not sure what's more optimal, but at least you're able to see both options, and then you can kind of go with what you want. I'm sure more people have a Scatter Signal Fusion Rifle than they do the Incisor from Trials. So yeah, you might just want to go with that regardless. But you definitely want to match your surges. So I have triple strand surge for my GL and my fusion. So it's just really nice. And like I said, then it's just rinse repeating, doing the same stuff. Like this part isn't very hard at all if you follow the like the route that I take, because you can see like I don't have too many ads shooting at me, hardly ever. But yeah, this is a very comfortable 3-phase. I tried this with rockets, both with Argent Ordnance and without, with Izanagi's Burden, Bait and Switch bait and Switch Apex Predator, and Akelous Mini Tool. And that was quite good, but it didn't even do as good damage as the GL combo. Like I said, the GL is kind of king for burst DPS, but the rockets, you're going to get more total DPS. So there, I get lucky. I finally get like at least a few shots, even though I'm pretty sure my golden gun is pretty much going to wipe this guy off the face of the earth. And then I get some more heavy. And then I'm like, oh, maybe I'm on a heavy run now. So I'm just going to kill the ads, and there goes a heavy brick. I don't know if you saw it drop. But like I said, so the game, every now and then, it just like starts dropping heavy for you. And that's when you want to start slaying out on ads. So we definitely want to kill this Minotaur because he's on our DPS platform. So we don't want him bugging us while we're trying to damage the boss. And I'm not sure what I'm doing here. Maybe I forgot that I had actually shot a couple of the nodes already. See, that one's already activated. So now here come the goblins. Oh yeah, so the goblins spawn in once you've activated like half the nodes on that side. So that's why they spawned in once I hit that node in particular. And then, yep, now we got damage phase. Swap to my Celestial loadout. And again, I forgot to get killing tally procced. But it's not a big deal because on the third phase, this boss is very low. So there's lots of different damage strategies you can use. Again, use what you're most comfortable with. But Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun is really like the king. I found Titan and Warlock to be pretty difficult 3 phases on both bosses, where on Hunter, the 3 phases were very comfortable. Like you could see all I had to do was 1 golden gun at the end of that one. And then the final boss, it's not like it's a tight 3 phase, like it's a comfortable 3 phase. So my recommendation for this dungeon would definitely be Hunter, and kind of like the strats that I'm showing here. And like I said, my guide, I talk about the Star Eater strat as well. But yeah, so here, Trinity Ghoul is super nice, and then just something that can shoot the nodes. You can see how quickly and easy Trinity Ghoul takes out all these ads. Then we have our sword for this guy, and then it's just a matter of knowing where to stand. So you go to this platform, and from there you can comfortably see every node, as you can see. And then I kind of forgot where that one was for half a second. Then we drop down. So now you got the fans, and you won't die to fall damage, which is nice, but the fans can still kill you. Like if you fall here into that fan, that'll kill you. So just be careful. So just kind of go with the fan blade. Basically, as it's falling underneath me, that's when I move to avoid it. So I'm just going to speed this part up. But again, just utilize the hell out of Trinity Ghoul. It's great. This time... Oh yeah, and you have to get like so many ads down before it spawns in the Arctrician Minotaur. So now we get Arctrician, we head over to this this number 2 side. And I didn't notice, but it looked like one of the nodes had been shot by my Trinity Ghoul. So that's why I had to restart there. It's on the right. Yeah, that one was shot last time. So I didn't notice that. So yeah, you only have so much time. That's why it's good to know where they are. But if you take out all the ads, it's really not a big deal. You'll just have to, if you don't get them all in time, you'll just have to re-get your Arctrician buff from the Minotaur. So then again, just be careful on those little fan blades. And then I don't like this part because I never know which side that middle node is on. The 4 outside nodes are fine, but it's that damn middle node. So you'll see what I do here. I kind of go inside so that I can get a good look at it. So I'm just... kind of familiarizing myself. Take that guy out. See, yeah, I hadn't even swapped off my DPS stuff yet. So take these ads out now that Arctrician Minotaur is up and another Cyclops is up in mid. So you want to deal with all the ads first. Here I get a little low. Throw a healing nade. And then I've got anti-barrier because I had just procced Radiant. So we take him out. Now we're going to shoot these nodes. So like I said, I go kind of close to inside so I can see where it is. I get that middle node first because I find it the most difficult to find. And then I'm just trying to rip around. Unfortunately, I ran out of sword ammo. But then once you get those, then you're on to the boss. So the boss, again, the GL strat is like king in my opinion. It's so good. So here I am just like getting my loadout set because I didn't really have like presets, and then I rally with triple strand reserves. And then yeah, we use Celestial Nighthawk, but I did my practice solo on my Hunter. I used Star Eater Blade Barrage, and it worked really well as well. But there you can see the fusion rifle with Radiant. It gets anti-barrier, so it goes through like that protective shield around the Cyclops. And then also, here I need to get a kill fast to extend resto. And yeah, with controlled burst, like it takes those guys down super easy. And then I don't run overflow on this fusion rifle. I run slice because it will proc, what's it called? Torch from the artifact. So we're dealing 5% more damage when we're radiant, and it lasts for 10 seconds, which is pretty much, that's exactly what bait and switch lasts for. So the entire clip that you empty from your GL is dealing 5% extra on top of 25% from radiant, 22% from triple strand surge, and solo operative and revitalizing blast and all that stuff. So it absolutely slaps. So in this part, I like to, it just depends which nodes are up for kind of like the route that I choose to take. So this one had a left and a right. So I just finished the one side, and then I come over here and I go to the other side. A big thing you want to be sure is that you have at least 15 seconds of Arctrician when you come out of this room, because you have to shoot those final nodes. Now there are Minotaurs that you can get Arctrician off of, but it can be a little risky. So I've got 30 seconds, so that's plenty of time. But if you only have 10 seconds, you better go kill that Minotaur that's across the arena right now. Because look, I'm still waiting for those nodes to open, so boom. And then once you shoot one, like, it extends your timer. So now this is the time that you want to swap to DPS. So I swap to my golden gun, and then I start off with a dodge so that I can get that slice activated right away. Because slice also reduces their damage output. And then I don't know if that's necessarily the best way to do it, but the reason I popped is because I just knew his crit was open. So see, I don't get my full bait and switch. The last like couple aren't under bait and switch. So you could maybe optimize that a little more. But again, now I have slice going, which reduces his damage output, because you could see how I was hopping around in that boss phase. You can dodge his projectiles very easily because they move very slowly, as you can see. But if you do get hit, it's nice if he's dealing less damage to you. So that's where Slice is so good here, and especially in a solo flawless, you don't want to die to the boss. And then after DPS, you run back here, and I'm literally just waiting out my knives. Because I don't have Gambler's Dodge, I have Marksman's Dodge, which reloads my weapon. So I'm just waiting for... I guess I didn't actually wait. But see, if I had my knives, I'd be Radiant there, and then my fusion rifle is going to go through that Cyclops' shield. So now I've got both my knives, because that's how Ophidia Spathe works when it recharges. Anytime you refresh your melee charge, you get 2 charges back. So that's really nice. So now I have 2 charges, so now we're laughing. We're going to go finish this guy off. We had lots of ammo from the round before, so just like that, we're up to 17. And then I might even swap to my reserve chest piece. But even that isn't totally necessary, because you can hold 17 in your mag with Envious Assassin, but you can't hold 19. So you do have to do your little dodge at the end to shoot off your 2 more grenades, which may not be under bait and switch anymore, where you can just swap to your fusion rifle after you unload like 17, and then you have controlled burst going after the first shot. So again, I'm not sure what's the most optimal to do. There, I was just waiting for the boss to move. Oh yeah, so I do swap to my strand reserves. So now I have even more fusion shots, even more GL shots, because I might as well. I have a ton of heavy on the ground, where again, I talked about this in my Ghosts of the Deep run, but sometimes it's good to leave a heavy brick up for the next phase. Like if I'm only going to get 1 or 2 ammo like I did there, I'd be better off getting like 6 or 7 for my next phase and just having a bit less damage on my second damage phase. But because I knew I had like a fair amount of heavy ammo around the field already, I was like, well, I might as well optimize my next phase. It just makes the third phase that much easier. So now I didn't realize I lost Arctrician. See, like there's a heavy brick behind me. So now we're going to go get Arctrician. And here again, that's where the fusion rifle is really nice. We reload it. We reload our guns. Now we're just getting ready. We're just manipulating the boss right now, just so he's not in our way when we're going to activate these ones. So I'm baiting him all the way to the back. And now I'm going to start shooting these nodes. So we take out the nodes, take out the supplicants. Again, this is my ad clear loadout, so I have heavy ammo finder with an exotic primary. I kind of forgot where the nodes were a little bit. Like I said, I'm not overly familiar with this dungeon. I'm missing one on the inside, and this boss is in my way. So is it a speed run? No, you're just trying to get a solo flawless. So just play safe. So that's why I shoot the boss, just to bait him over here. I reproc Arctrician. Now the boss is out of the way, and we try again. We use our healing nade because those suppies were right on top of me. We get another heavy brick there. See, it's on the other side of that pillar. I just was missing it before. Then we shoot that, and we're good to go. So yeah, just got my wires crossed a little bit, just because I wasn't totally sure where stuff is. So now this time I have 15 seconds, which is about the minimum you want. Because once you're out of that room, yeah. You just want to be safe, right? So unfortunately, this Minotaur is bearing down on me. So I have to waste some ammo on him. Just so I can get my armor swap. He will despawn right now, but I have to swap my loadout, so I was just being careful. So this time, I do it better. I shoot my other 2 shots, but I couldn't remember if I had shot them. So I just wanted to make sure I was going to get bait and switch, so I throw another sunshot shot in there. And I'm just strafing back and forth. And I think I missed that last one. But you could see I had bait and switch up the entire time for the full ammo reserves. So that was perfect. And I think I was actually holding 19. Let's rewind here. Because sometimes Envious will like overload it a bit more than it's supposed to. I can't remember why that is. Yeah, I do have 19 in this one. So you can hold 19, but it's inconsistent. And I can't remember what the cause of it is. And we have Revitalizing Blast for most of this. And like I said, bait and switch lasted like right to the end. Then we do a dodge. That's to get Slice reprocced again. And then we pretty much get a full clip of our controlled burst fusion rifle shots off too. So that was pretty much a perfect damage phase. I hit my crit with Celestial. That's the one thing that's a little dangerous with Celestial, is his crit's not the easiest, right? Like he's a Wyvern. So they don't have the most forgiving crit to hit. So as a result, so also Flint Striker can proc from killing multiple adds with a solar weapon. So that's how I got Radiant going there, rather than my knife. But now I can't remember what the heck I was saying before I talked about Flint Striker. Oh yeah, so that was pretty much a perfect damage phase. We got 19 shots off in a row, and then we procced Slice, and then we went to town with our fusion rifle. We didn't have Revitalizing Blast for the very, very end, like maybe the last grenade or 2, but that's not the end of the world. The big thing is dumping ammo immediately. So yeah, that was a super good damage phase, and now we just have to do it one more time. So again, you can see he's probably just over 30% health. Maybe closer to 25%. So again, that's a very comfortable 2-phase, or 3-phase. We know in the 3rd phase that it's not going to be like super duper tight. We have some forgiveness. But yeah, Celestial can be hard to hit, where your Blade Barrage with Feast of Light from Star Eater Scales, it's definitely easier to land on this boss. And the rotation for it is quite easy as well. You like throw a melee out, you dump a bunch of your rocket ammo, or you could use the bait and switch thing, but I was using rockets. So you dump a bunch of the rocket ammo, and then you do your Blade Barrage to reproc Revitalizing Blast. And in that time, it's taking a bit of extra time, so Reconstruction is loading your rocket. But anyway, so there's a couple ways to get a 3-phase on this guy. So this time, Arctrician, we're at 30 seconds, so we're laughing. So we're gonna avoid this Minotaur. I've got Heavy up there. So now we shoot our 5 things, and then we're gonna bring it home here. So yeah, that was the solo flawless of Spire the Watcher on a Hunter. I really like these strats, and I'm absolutely loving that this grenade launcher for burst DPS. It's amazing. So yeah, we made sure we hit our golden gunshot, and then we just dump our reserves. And that time I didn't have many loaded, but I still had time for a reload, and you could see we still had lots of time to get the 3-phase. Still had a few grenades in the chamber. So yeah, if you enjoyed, thanks for watching. Leave a like and sub, and take care.